What did you see from him in Major League Baseball, and is what he did in the minors transitioning, or do you think it will transition to the majors?
I mean, I think we saw it early on that I think it definitely will, and the big ballpark certainly helps a little bit just to get into those gaps, allows them to maybe stretch what could be a double to a triple or even a single to a double with his speed. And he plays two premium positions that, unfortunately, the Marlins don't have the greatest defensive production from. I mean, Xavier Edwards, Skip has noted multiple times that it's been a very pleasant surprise, but unfortunately, I just don't see him sticking there at short. I think his value will definitely consists of him being a second baseman, and you could even put Sanoja at short, depending what you want to do at center field there. But he looked really good. He has a very low strikeout percentage at the AAA level. Is the lowest in the International League, which I believe was just under 5%, something like that. It was very crazy, but he has very good speed. He is a very smart baseball player. He's going to be a guy who you could use late in the game at the moment. I mean, this is a very good baseball player for what he provides, obviously. And I don't think any of us would have put on our bingo cards that Javier Sanoja would be called up this season, just seeing where he started the season, I believe, which was in high A or even in double A. Didn't spend too much time at either spot, and then goes to triple A because of the Jose Devers injury, which he starts raking, and you got to keep him up there. You can't just put him back down after that. And everyone probably would have assumed that he would stick at AAA, then compete for a roster spot come 2025. But he's been really good, and he really deserved this. So congratulations to Javier Sanoja, and he's going to stick up here for the remainder of the season, I would assume.
Yeah, what an aggressive year for Sanoja, because I thought it was a little bit of a shocking one that he was invited to big league camp. Completely shocked that he made it to that he started the year at AAA, and I'm honestly very surprised that he's getting his big league chance. But I think that, wow, he really did impress me, obviously, in that one game. But that hit tool he didn't look uncomfortable at all at the plate, which was awesome.
And you're not going to get the high exit velos. You're not going to get the home runs, obviously. But
yeah, but even opposite
who plays a brand of baseball, that's very fun to watch.
Yeah, but he's got a little bit of sneaky power. Right?
He does. He had a single that was 105.
Right, yeah, that single left
field right now, yeah.
And right center field gap is not easy to get to on the fly. So that was little man's got pop.
Well, so what sticks out here? This is from the StatCast measurements that we had at Jacksonville. Not a single ball that was barreled, that seems counterintuitive that he hit home runs but didn't barrel them. For people that follow the minors very closely, in Jacksonville, down both of the foul lines, both left and right, very home run friendly. At the same time, there's somewhat of a skill involved with that, where he's never going to hit a home run to dead center field. I promise you that he could play in Miami for 15 years. It's never going to hit a home run that's 400 plus feet to dead center. If he's going to hit for some semblance of power, it's going to be about hitting fly balls and pulling fly balls. He's shown a few of those this year in order to intrigue me and raise my evaluation of him a little bit, because I entered this year really skeptical. We barely had him in our top 30 entering the season when the farm system as a whole was still pretty narrow. There needs to be some sort of extra base hit element in order for you to reasonably project this guy to have a chance at being an everyday player or something close to it. And he's shown enough of that with his ability to go foul line to foul line and then let his speed take over that I'm optimistic. The contact skill is off the charts, and I just cannot think of many examples where his strikeout rate has gone down as he has climbed up this system. It was already super low at the lower levels, but for it to be lower than ever with him at AAA, for it to be the lowest strikeout rate of anybody at the AAA level this season surpasses any expectations you could possibly have. And he's still so young. He's still 22 years old. He just turned 22 years old. So the physical projection, there's not a whole lot there for somebody that's so small. He is the shortest position player in Marlins history at 5'7". That frame is not going to give you a whole lot. It's going to be about his skill level and his approach at the plate. In the minors, still too many ground balls for me to be super optimistic about him as a batting title contender. The defenders he's facing in the majors are going to be better. More of those ground balls are going to turn to outs. It's going to be about him finding more consistent line drive contact moving forward. It's still just a really exciting development. Just to be clear, this guy is a homegrown Marlins player. He was signed by the Marlins for less than $100,000 in 2019 out of Venezuela. There have been so few guys that have been signed, developed, come to the majors as hitters in this Marlins history. in this recent history, I should say, it's him and it's Nick Fortes. And that's it. If you look at this current roster, those are the only guys on the hitting side that were fully developed from the very beginning and brought through. Fortes has had his ups and downs. I think Sanoja, the ceiling is a little bit higher just because of how supernatural his contact ability is.
And then you'll add another one with Victor Mesa Jr. whenever he cracks the roster at some point next year. He would have been up here had the injury not happened, but you'll have another homegrown. Little by little, the organization is going to keep calling those guys up. Joe Mack, Will Banfield, we'll throw in there. They'll have their fair share of guys. So it's encouraging to see, definitely from a development standpoint, to see the homegrowns come.
Well, I do want to touch on this quickly, that I was very skeptical of Edwards as well and how much of his AAA game is going to translate to the majors. And so far, he has exceeded those expectations as well. It goes without saying that he's been great. And he looks, if not a shortstop, then somebody that could be a viable everyday second baseman for the foreseeable future. With Edwards, the speed is on a different level. It's a full grade higher. With Edwards, he's like a 70 runner. Sanoja is more 60-ish. And if you look in the minors, even his speed hasn't necessarily translated to valuable base running. He's still kind of immature. I don't know if immature is the right word, but I don't think his feel for the game is quite on that same level, where he's just not creating, at least to this point, as much value with his legs as Edwards is. And that's a pretty big element that gets Edwards extra infield hits, that gets him stolen bases and creates runs in that way. Sanoja does have more defensive versatility, and his unusual versatility to play both center and the middle infield spots. I would not say he's a great defender at any of those particular positions. So the value is just the flexibility that he brings from that regard. Yeah. So Edwards, I have to admit, I did not see him. It's difficult to project anybody to be a 300 hitter at the big league level, and he still has something to prove in that regard as well. The last thing I'll pull up here, I think I took a screenshot of it. We noted early in the year, Nate in particular did this article about how Jesus Sanchez was unlucky, how he was underperforming his expected numbers, and that was going to turn around at some point, and it did. Now we need to look at the other side of the spectrum. These are the luckiest hitters in baseball this season. Top 10, 3 Marlins in here. 3 of everybody's favorite Marlins are in here in terms of guys that are overperforming their expected weighted on base average. It's Connor Norby right near the top, Xavier Edwards pretty close behind, and then Jonah Bride right after that.
Yeah. I think the most concerning one is Norby. I think Edwards, he's always going to be at the top of this list, even when, he's been there for a few years, because just all the amount of infield hits and the bullshit hits that he and Arise and guys like that get. I think he's always going to be at the top of this expected list because, still, it's valuable. But yeah, Norby is due for a decline, unfortunately.
It is my way of saying that, as impressive as Edwards has been, we can't totally, I would hesitate to totally buy in on him as an everyday player at this point. He's got off to a great start. He's checking a lot of boxes, but it's still a pretty small sample right now. While he could overperform in some regard, when you're all the way at an extreme end of this list, I think I would hesitate a little bit before penciling him in as like a building block for this future right here. It's been a great development for him. But that's the thing with this. We're still dealing with kind of small samples, and most importantly, you just need to give the league time to adjust. The league finds really clever, frustrating ways to exploit what you want to do as a hitter. So you just need more reps to get totally sold on anybody in this position.
Was there Rise last year?
Last year, probably. You see he's not there this year at this point. I'd have to pull it up. He is somebody that
he's probably top 20.
Right.
Really quickly before we get into breaks, the flip fish and all that, I want to hear from Alex Kruchik. I know he was at the game about Javier Sanoja, talking to him, what he said, just a little bit of what he mentioned, getting his first career hits and getting to the majors and his quick transition, like Kevin said, from AA to now Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to talk to him much yesterday, unfortunately. I do know that I don't believe he got the ball from his first hit. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think he got the ball from his first hit. I think he got the ball yesterday. Or no, rather there was one ball that he didn't get, but he got the ball from yesterday for his first hit. But
the one from that pinch hit, I don't think was that. I don't think that was considered a hit.
Right. So I don't think he got that ball. There we go.
Let's
So
get
we
a
got the
close-
first hit ball.
Great shirt.
Um,
Take a closer look.
Yeah,
But
Carter needs a closer look.
To answer your question, Daniel, the day he was called up to the taxi squad, I was there, and yeah, he did reference that it was extremely quick for him. He was super, super surprised. He credited the winter ball play that he had as a big help for him. But yeah, he said, oh, a lot of the veterans helped him out a lot. And in Jacksonville, that the coaching staff really, really was beneficial to him, not seeing this as such an aggressive promotion. Just he's been playing baseball since he was 4, et cetera, all the normal things that these rookies usually say.